You tell yourself you're not spending much. No big purchases, no designer bags, no Tesla in the driveway. Just the basics, groceries, phone bill, gas, the occasional lunch out. So why does it still feel like you're broke? Here's the uncomfortable truth. You're not living on the bare minimum, you're living on autopilot. You've convinced yourself that what you spend is necessary. But necessary has quietly expanded to include a lot of things that aren't. And it's not your fault, it's how financial survival in a consumer society is designed. Take a look at your last month of expenses. Not what you think you spent, not what your budget says. I mean every transaction. You might find $12 for a streaming service you forgot to cancel, $45 for takeout because you were too tired to cook, $28 here, $19 there, and suddenly $400 is gone with nothing to show for it. You didn't feel rich when you spent it, but you didn't feel poor either because the spending was invisible. Just little swipes, little escapes. You thought, I'm just doing what everyone else does. But here's the trap. When everyone's overspending quietly, normal starts to look like the minimum. Let's talk about the quiet killers. Subscriptions, delivery fees, energy bills from forgotten appliances left running, trips to the store for just one thing that turn into 5. You don't count the $4 coffee because it's not a $400 TV. But if you bought that coffee 5 days a week, that's over $80 a month. Nearly $1,000 a year, enough to fully stock a pantry or cover car insurance. We lie to ourselves because the truth is exhausting. It's easier to say I'm just getting by than admit we're leaking money through holes we pretend aren't there. But the worst part, you've stopped checking, stopped tracking, because it feels like the problem is not enough income. But most of the time, it's too many unexamined expenses. Not luxury, not greed, just fog. And fog keeps you stuck. Imagine this. You're in a boat, not a big one, just a small dinghy on calm water. You're not sinking fast, but the water's slowly rising. You don't notice it because it's quiet, until your feet are wet, and by then you need a bucket. Your daily spending is that slow leak. And most people never plug it, they just try to paddle harder, work more hours, pick up side gigs, when what they needed first was a patch kit. Here's your patch kit. Start by printing your last 30 days of bank and credit card activity. Yes, print. Old school, highlight the essentials, groceries, rent, meds. Now take a red pen and mark everything that felt automatic. Every lunch out you didn't plan. Every Target run that became a therapy session. Every app charge you forgot you signed up for. You'll see a story, not just about money, but about fatigue, habit, and emotion. And here's the shift. You don't need to cut back everything, but you do need to see everything, because you can't fix what you won't face. You may think you're on bare bones, but in truth, you're still carrying extra weight. Not out of carelessness, but out of unconscious routine. And once you wake up to that, you don't just save money, you regain control. You become the kind of person who knows where their power is going. And that is wealth. Long before the bank account shows it, you've got a budget. Maybe in a spreadsheet, maybe in your head. Rent, groceries, gas, utilities, debt payments. You've categorized it all. You've told yourself, I know where my money goes. But here's the catch. Your budget doesn't show you the full truth, just the parts you've agreed to see. Because most budgets only capture what feels rational. And money isn't rational, it's emotional. Your budget reflects what you wish was true about your spending, not what's actually happening. For example, you list groceries, $300. But that doesn't count the $60 you spent on DoorDash because you didn't feel like cooking, or the waiting on late-night snacks at 7-Eleven, or the lunch you bought because your coworkers went out and you didn't want to feel left out. Your budget may be neat, but your life, it's messy, and money always follows life, not the other way around. Here's the lie that ruins most people's savings. You think your spending reflects your needs, but much of what you spend is about protecting your comfort, or worse, your image. You keep Netflix because it's only $15. You keep Spotify because silence feels empty. You keep Prime because 2-day shipping is your safety net. You eat out because you don't want to feel boring. You grab fast food because your time feels more valuable than your health in the moment. These aren't bad decisions, they're emotional ones. But when you budget like you're a robot, you ignore the human behind the math. And humans, we are creatures of friction and fatigue. Think of it like this. Your budget is a house. The walls are made of logic. But the plumbing, that's emotion. You can paint the walls, add a nice roof, even build a solid foundation. But if the plumbing leaks, it still floods. And right now, your money is flooding out the pipes of convenience, identity, stress relief, and fear. Here's a brutal truth. You don't need a stricter budget, you need an honest one. That means tracking not just by category, but by reason. Ask yourself why every expense happened. Not just what you spent, but why. You spent $12 on fast food. Was it hunger or was it emotional exhaustion? You paid $40 for a shirt you didn't need. Was it style or was it the anxiety of feeling less than? When you learn to track why, you start to see the patterns. The spending that doesn't come from need but from emotional autopilot. Try this exercise for 1 week. Write down everything you spend, and next to it, write the feeling that triggered it. Lonely, tired, stressed, bored, peer pressure, imposter syndrome. You'll learn more about yourself from that one list than any spreadsheet ever taught you. And once you see the emotion, you can build smarter strategies. Not to shame yourself, but to replace money habits with healthier rituals. Feeling tired, batch cook. Feeling lonely, call someone instead of scrolling Amazon. Feeling anxious, journal before you click add to cart. Because here's the truth, no one tells you, budgets don't fix emotional spending, awareness does. And once you become aware, your budget becomes a tool, not a trap. It stops being this system that guilts you and becomes a mirror that helps you choose better. And when you start choosing better, you won't just cut expenses, you'll cut the reasons you needed to spend in the first place. And that's when money starts working for you, not just flowing through you. Your wallet isn't bleeding because of one big mistake. It's drowning in 1,000 tiny decisions you stopped questioning. Let's be clear, you're not broke, you're buried. Buried in apps, memberships, gadgets, beauty products, half-used subscriptions, unused tools, and things you bought just in case. Open your closet. How many shirts do you actually wear? How many pairs of shoes still have the tags? How many cables, kitchen tools, office gadgets sit in drawers untouched but too good to throw away? That's not just physical clutter. That's financial clutter. Money you've spent to improve your life, but ended up owning you instead. Here's what nobody tells you. Most people don't buy things to use, they buy things to feel in control. You order a backup phone charger because you hate being unprepared. You buy a 4th water bottle because it motivates you to drink more. You sign up for a productivity app thinking this one will finally fix your focus. But all you're really doing is outsourcing your anxiety to stuff. And clutter, mental or physical, doesn't just cost space, it costs energy, focus, and yes, thousands of dollars over the years. Look around your home. Look at every object as if it had a price tag still hanging on it. That pair of jeans you never wear, $80. That workout gear you gave up on, $150. The drawer of skincare products you tried twice, $200. The tech gear you were going to use, $600 easy. Now ask yourself, would you pay for them again? If the answer is no, then it's time to ask a harder question. Why did you need them in the first place? Let's go deeper. Most purchases aren't about the thing. They're about the version of yourself you thought the thing would give you. You bought the yoga mat thinking you'd become fit. You bought the planner thinking you'd become organized. You bought the meal plan subscription thinking you'd become disciplined. But without changing your system, all you added was clutter. And clutter turns into guilt. Every unused item becomes a quiet whisper of failure. You wasted money. You never follow through. You're not who you said you'd be. That guilt, it's heavier than any credit card balance. But here's the flip side, and it's powerful. Every time you remove clutter, you get a refund. Not from the store, but from your mind. Because clarity is wealth, space is value, and simplicity saves money. When you stop buying replacements for motivation, when you stop trying to buy your identity, you stop throwing away dollars for dopamine hits that disappear in days. So what's the fix? Try this. Go through one drawer today, just one, and ask yourself, have I used this in the last 90 days? Would I buy this again right now? Does this item reduce stress or increase it? If it doesn't serve you anymore, it's time to let it go. Donate it, sell it, trash it if you have to. Because clearing that space isn't about being neat. It's about being free. And here's the money part. For the next 30 days, whenever you want to buy something, ask, am I solving a real problem or trying to become someone I haven't built habits for yet? If it's the second pause, you don't need more stuff. You need more space to breathe, think, and rebuild your spending from clarity. Because again, you don't have a money problem, you have a clutter problem, and once you clear it, your finances, your mind, and your life will all cost less to carry. Cutting expenses doesn't mean you have to live like a monk, but it does mean you need to learn what to cut and how deep to go. Most people quit saving because they start with pain. They slash what they enjoy first. No coffee, no Netflix, no fun. And within weeks, they feel deprived, bitter, and trapped. But what if the problem isn't cutting too much? It's cutting the wrong things, in the wrong order. Here's how to do it differently. Cut in layers. 3 of them. Surface, sentimental, survival. Each layer goes deeper, but the key is starting from the top and only going as far as you need. Layer 1, surface cuts. The invisible waste. These are expenses you won't even miss. Forgotten subscriptions, random Amazon buys. Takeout you ordered out of laziness, not craving. Pull up your last 30 days of transactions. Look for anything that made no difference in your life a week later. These are your surface cuts. Clean, easy, emotionless. Example. You cancel a $12 streaming service you haven't watched since March. That's $144 a year. Do the same with 2 or 3 more. That's $500 in quiet savings without even touching your lifestyle. Layer 2. Sentimental cuts. The emotional habits. This one's trickier. These are the spending habits that are tied to your identity. Your morning latte ritual. The gym membership you tell yourself you'll use next month. The $60 you spend on gifts to feel generous even when your account is overdrawn. Cutting these stings not because they're necessary, but because they say something about you. But here's the key. You don't have to delete these entirely, you just need to downgrade them. Example. Instead of $5 coffee every day, get a 50 French press and use it proudly at home. Instead of Uber Eats 3 times a week, prep one special homemade dinner each weekend as your treat. The goal is to keep the feeling of abundance while removing the financial pressure. Layer 3, survival cuts. The last line. These are the big ones. Moving to a cheaper apartment. Selling your car and switching to public transit. Cutting cable, changing phone plans, even adjusting insurance. These cuts reshape your life. They're disruptive, but they also come with massive savings. You don't start here, but if the numbers aren't adding up, if debt is suffocating you, this is where real change happens. Example. Moving from a $1,600 apartment to a $1,000 one may feel like a step down, but over 12 months, you just gave yourself $7,200 of breathing room. That's not a punishment, that's a reset. The trick is knowing how far to go. Maybe you only need surface cuts to get by. Maybe you need to touch the sentimental layer, rethink your rituals. Maybe it's time to cut deep, not because you failed, but because you're ready to get out of the cycle for good. Here's what you need to hear. Cutting expenses isn't about losing freedom. It's about regaining control. When you choose what to cut on your terms, it stops being sacrifice and starts becoming strategy. Try this right now. Make a 3-column list. Column 1, things I can cut today, surface. Column 2, things I can modify, sentimental. Column 3, big changes. I'll explore this month, survival. You don't have to change everything overnight, but you do have to start seeing your spending as a system, a machine, and every dollar you cut is another gear turning in your favor. Because let's be real, spending less doesn't mean living less. It means living smarter, cleaner, stronger, and nothing feels richer than that. Minimalism isn't just about owning less. It's about needing less and still feeling whole. Here's a quiet truth most people miss. You don't feel poor because you cut back. You feel poor when your life feels empty, even when it's full of stuff. So let's flip the script. Don't think of it as downsizing. Think of it as designing. A life that looks clean, feels light, runs quiet. One where your bank balance doesn't control your mood. Have you ever walked into someone's apartment, small, tidy, uncluttered, and felt an instant sense of peace? The kind of space where everything feels intentional, the air even feels different. That's not wealth, that's clarity. And clarity is the new luxury. Here's what most people get wrong. They think cutting back means losing status, wearing cheaper clothes, driving an older car, living in a smaller place. But real wealth is about perception, not possessions. If you wear your simplicity with confidence, no one questions it. If your $15 thrifted shirt is clean fitted and paired well, it looks better than a $90 brand tee. If your apartment is small but neat, Your meals are simple but fresh, your mornings are quiet but structured, you will feel rich. Not because of money, because of design. Think of it like this. Wealthy people don't chase more, they curate. They don't fill space, they edit. And the irony, the more you cut, the more valuable what's left begins to feel. One good pair of shoes kept clean and polished feels better than 5 worn-out pairs. One simple healthy meal made at home beats 3 overpriced restaurant dinners that leave you bloated and tired. A walk in silence without your phone gives you more than another scroll through online stores you don't buy from anyway. So how do you make simplicity look rich? You slow down. You take care of what you have. You clean your space. You fix small things. You stop impulse buying. You start appreciating the quiet wins, not just the loud purchases. Example: swap 5 fast food meals for 1 slow home-cooked dinner with music playing. No phone, just the sound of food breath peace. Feels expensive. Costs almost nothing. That's the shift. Try this today. Pick one space in your home, your desk, your bathroom counter, your fridge. Clear it out. Wipe it down. Only put back what serves you. Pick one outfit that makes you feel good. Not expensive, just intentional. Wear it with pride. Spend 20 minutes outdoors. Not shopping, not consuming, just breathing, walking, being. These aren't poor habits. They're rich rituals, and they don't require wealth-only awareness. Because the real flex in 2025 is peace. Not hustle, not clutter, not chasing the next big thing. It's being able to sit in a quiet room in a clean space with a clear mind and not crave anything. That's the luxury everyone's actually chasing. They just haven't realized it yet. And you're already there, just with less noise and more control. You weren't wasting money on purpose. You were spending to survive emotionally. To feel in control, to feel comforted, to feel something other than stress. But now you know, it wasn't really about the stuff. It was about what the stuff was covering. When you cut 80% of your expenses the right way, you don't feel poor, you feel powerful. Because now you see clearly. You know what you actually need. You know where the waste hides. And you've learned that control doesn't come from restriction. It comes from intention. This isn't about living small. It's about living clean, living smart, living free. If this video hit home, tell us below. What's one thing you cut that made a huge difference? Or what's the hardest thing you know you should cut but haven't yet? Share your wins. Share your struggles. Because someone else might need to hear that they're not alone in this. And if you're tired of YouTube videos that make money sound easy, subscribe here instead. No fluff, just truth, clarity, and calm strategy. The world tells you more is better. More comfort, more convenience, more stuff. But here you are cutting back, slowing down, simplifying. Not because you're failing, but because you're finally choosing. You're not running from responsibility. You're reclaiming it, piece by piece, expense by expense. And when you strip away the noise, you'll find something beautiful underneath. A version of you that doesn't crave as much, doesn't owe as much, and finally, doesn't fear as much. That's not poverty, that's power. That's not deprivation, that's peace. So let yourself enjoy it. Let yourself be proud. You've cut 80% and what's left? That's the part that really matters. That's all for now. The rest is yours to feel.